This is Story Saloon, short stories centre stage. I'm Jane Messer. In this episode, we're going to hear the short story GPS, written by Cate Kennedy. Cate is a multi-award winning writer of short stories, novels and poetry. Cate's published collections include Dark Roots and Like a House on Fire. Internationally, she is one of the few Australian writers to be published in The New Yorker. Reading GPS is Jules Billington, whose stage and screen work has included roles with Bell Shakespeare, Sydney Theatre Company, and La Boite, and the films Ellie Abbie and All About Eve.
GPS by Cate Kennedy. Let's start it here. Something as simple as a girl taking a shortcut through the bush. Let's say she's off to visit her grandmother. It's a worn track through the forest. I say forest, although it's basically scrubby regrowth eucalyptus plantation pine, full of tracks made by restless boys on BMX and dirt bikes. Scrubby, but a forest all the same. A woody grove where light filters down and the sound in birds' throats from the treetops is harsh and cautionary. It's a girl in a hoodie. In case you're wondering, it's not red. It doesn't need to be red, your coat. It doesn't even need to be a coat. You can be wearing anything. A sweatshirt, a jacket, your brother's tracksuit top he left in his wardrobe when he went away to uni. Anything at all. It is the audacity of daring to take the path through the bush which will mark you as Scarlet. It is the male of the species that gets to wear the scarlet. The female is dowdy, unremarkable, inoffensive, head down, dull and brown, pass under the radar, render yourself invisible, get out alive. That's how nature works. At the other end of this track lies the bitumen road into town. There is a bus stop there. Sometimes her mother sends the girl into town on errands, or she catches the bus to school from this stop. She daydreams with her head resting against the window as the bus lurches from the main street to the school, with its faded wall mural and the scattering of demountable classrooms arranged around the threadbare oval, their windows facing inwards towards the barren asphalt playground, their backs turned resolutely away from the bush. The girl has dawdled down the main street of this town all her life. She knows every shop. She watches the bigger girls playing netball on the courts behind the hardware store, wanders past the op shop to look in the window. Her grandmother volunteers at this op shop. It's where she buys her forest green cardigans and woolly hats, where she sorts baby clothes into clean and tidy piles on a Saturday morning. Her grandmother lives in a house by herself just off this track, not far away. She is a widow. Her pantry is full of ingredients for making cakes and slices when the local ladies' auxiliary does its catering. "Why don't you have a TV?" the girl asks when she visits. And her grandmother snorts and says, "I've got no time for that nonsense." The girl can't work out what her grandmother does to keep busy. The garden, the crossword, making cakes, drying potpourri, drinking sherry and talking to her dead husband in the frame on the mantelpiece. Today, the girl carries no basket. She has $5 in her pocket to get some hot chips after the library closes, and after that, on the way home, she will visit her grandmother, see if she's home. The long day stretches idle as a lizard. The boys who ride their BMX bikes along this track are all down at the football oval watching the weekly match. And the girl is glad because they're idiots, those boys. They are so immature. She has a mobile phone, but she has left it at home because she has run out of data and the battery is flat. And there is nobody to text anyway. It is for emergencies, and she is reaching a section of the path through which there is no reception. This is the nature of dark woods. They lie in a black spot. On your phone, this appears as a tiny warning saying SOS only. You could send an SOS if only you knew how. If you had the number for such an emergency. Once, when the girl was little, her mother told her not to talk to strange men. She said, "Listen, don't get into a strange man's car, even if he has a puppy or offers you lollies." The girl has filed away messages like these, although she has never been stopped by a stranger in a car. Not in this town, where she's pretty sure she knows everyone or their relatives. And although she would very much like a puppy, she would love it and look after it, and it would be her perfect companion. Would there really be a puppy? Couldn't she and the puppy seize their moment and jump out of the car and run to safety? The puppy would realise she had saved it and would never leave her side, like the wild dog in her library book in the Yukon. The girl has her hands deep in the pockets of her brother's tracksuit jacket. She misses him. He's studying in the city, law and international relations or something. She is singing a song to herself, teaching herself the words so she doesn't see the man on the track at first, who has come plunging out of the gorse thickets and underbrush. There is a lot of gorse in this patch of bush because this used to be an old gold mining town and all the earth has been turned over and disturbed at one time or another, and gorse is one of the things that grows on disturbed earth, noxious weed that it is. Gorse makes itself into an impenetrable thicket, bristling and barbed. The girl sees the man and stops singing. By default, she is embarrassed to have been seen unself-conscious, even for a moment. And she wishes she had a bike so she could just coast past him without looking at him, pumping fast all the way to the bus stop and then onto the bitumen. She doesn't know him. He gives her a quick, hard look up and down, like she's a barcode he's reading. She feels, for comfort, the edges of the library book she's got under her jacket, inside her shirt, and the folded $5 note in her pocket, and haunches herself a little as she walks closer. A bit of sun breaks out through the tree canopy as she comes abreast of the man, and for a second, as she's glancing at him, it makes his hair shine like a pelt. "Where are you off to?" the man says. The girl is sure she doesn't know him. If she did, if he were a friend of her dad's, he would have known her name. "Just into town," she says. Town, where the girls are playing netball and the boys are playing football and the fathers are cheering on the sons and the mothers are doing the food shop and running the fundraising stall and raffle. She looks down the sunlit track to where it disappears into shadow. She must not run. She must not give anything away. "I'll walk with ya," he says. Around his wrists, she notices he has wrapped a chain and a leash. "You don't have to," she says. He gives her a sideways smile. 2 of his teeth are chipped. They look pointed. "Nah, I want to," he says, and falls in beside her, walking deeper into the forest on the winding track, into the black hole with no reception. He matches his stride to hers, slowing himself down. She can smell him. Cigarettes and something else. A coconut smell, like gorse flowers. There are red scratches on the back of his hands and rims of black under his fingernails. "How far is it to get to town from here?" he says, like he's never been on this track before. "Why," she answers, "are you lost?" The man seems glad she asked. He holds up the chain and leash he's carrying. "My dog," he says. "I was taking the dog for a walk and he ran off, chasing something." "What sort of dog?" says the girl, and the man seems to pause a bit too long before answering. He looks up at the sky briefly, wrapping the leash more firmly around his wrist, and then says, "A staffy." "I wish I had a dog," says the girl. It's out before she has time to check herself. A mistake. Because now the man smiles more widely at her, and he says almost teasingly, "Why's that? Your mum and dad won't let ya?" "My dad," says the girl, "is just down at the footy oval. He told me not to be late. He's waiting for me." Another mistake. Because now the man actually nudges her with his elbow, the one with the chain and the leash, and gives a snort of laughter. "Ha! Sure he is," he says. Now they're coming to where the path forks like a crooked stick, either leading upwards along the clay ridge towards the phone tower and the bus stop and the town, or else down towards the dirt bike scrambles and the reservoir. Down the fork around the gully is her grandmother's house, still out of sight. The bush is quiet and parched and drooping in the sun. The girl can smell eucalyptus and dust and the strange, hot animal smell of this man, and her hand curls around the useless $5 note she has in her pocket instead of her phone, which is sitting on her bedside table at home. Anyway, no chance of sending any kind of SOS now. Through those invisible waves pulsing from the phone tower to some satellite in space, in a way the girl doesn't even try to understand, even though her science teacher in endless boring afternoons in the dusty demountable classroom has tried to explain it. It's about sending out a signal, the teacher said, a repeated message which is encoded and interpreted so that an alert reaches somewhere and they can map you. That's a GPS. A GPS, which stands for Gravitational Pull System, or Global Praying System, or Grandmother Please Save. But the girl can't think straight now because the man is walking in a way which is stopping her taking the gravel bend up to the road and saying, "We'll go this way. My car's down here." And the gravitational pull is making her turn and not take off and sprint up the hill, slipping and sliding with her library book pressed against her belly inside her jacket. And he would catch her. Of course he would, because he would move fast. And anyway, he is an adult and his hand would fit over nearly her whole face so she wouldn't be able to scream. And anyway, some dumb part of her brain, the part that isn't chanting, "Grandmother, please save, grandmother, please save," is thinking maybe around the next bend there will be a car, just like he said. And maybe he will drive her into town and drop her at the library and everything will just go on like it was before she took the shortcut through the forest. "If you were my girl," the man is saying, "I would let you have whatever you wanted. Tell you what, you can name my dog for me." She cannot speak, just walk. Her heart is hammering in her chest like a fist on a locked door. "Because he doesn't even have a name, you know. Not yet. I've been waiting for the right name for him," the man says. And the girl, "Grandmother, please save, grandmother, please save," imagines a huge black dog, all curled lip and sharp teeth and slobber and that low, awful noise they make like rolling thunder, and her head throbs. She hears birds in the bush squabbling and chacking and then falling silent. Around the bend of the track ahead of them appears a small woman. Her white hair is tucked under the old hat she always wears in the garden, and she is walking calmly towards them. Her grandmother. The man sees the old lady and wipes the smile off his face fast. No stick, no walking frame, but even so, just by looking at her, he can see she won't present him with any problems. He sees her give the kid a smile, like all's right with the world. It's not till she turns to him that he feels a strange hairs on the back of the neck feeling. And she gives him a long, solid look, stopped there in the path where the road forks like a snake's tongue. "So," she says. Her hand comes out, a knotty old lady's hand and gently tugs back the girl's hood and smooths her hair. "How you doing?" he says. He's pretty good at this. He's snowed his share of social workers and old ladies, barmaids and parole officers and shopkeepers. He gives her a winning smile. She looks at him and nods, almost to herself. She turns to the girl. "What are you helping this nice man with?" she says. "We're walking down to his car," says the girl, pointing. "It's just down there," he says. The old lady eyes him again, her head on one side. "Is that right?" she says. "Well, let's go then. We'll walk down together." And she stands there and then says, "After you." Nothing for it now, he thinks bitterly to himself, but to keep walking, holding the stupid dog leash he always carries as a ploy in case the cops come across him out here, suspect the hidden dope plot, hassle him. The three of them wind slowly down the hill into a darkening gully, the crunch of their footsteps loud. "Much further?" the old lady says sweetly, and he turns back, startled. They're still right behind him. He could just turn around and walk away, back up the road the way he'd come earlier, and then in the direction of the phone tower that he can see over the trees in the distance. But it's getting darker and darker, and there's tracks leading in all directions out here, and there isn't any bloody car, and something about her makes him think that she knows that, and he should just push her into the ditch for interfering like this, because now he has no idea where he is, and pretty soon the sun is going to sink behind the pine trees, so he will have to think of something, and fast. He feels weird, though. Slow. Like he's stoned. Can't think. The old woman is standing and looking at him pleasantly, her head still on a tilt, her arms folded, waiting. His voice dries in his throat. His hand rises up like a puppet's and makes a vague, fumbling gesture down the track where it disappears into a bracken maze, worn dirt trails branching off everywhere. "It's just down there, is it? Well, we might leave you to it then." She's so still, not even puffed. Those gleaming eyes hold him, pinning him. The girl beside her is still too, leaning into the old woman, saying nothing. Not scared now, though. Something's been pulled out from under him. "I mean," says the old woman softly, and he feels a sudden thrill of fear go through him, "you'll be wanting to find your dog, too." "My dog." His eyes follow her gesture to his own arm, where the leash and chain are still wrapped. "This," he says, "I don't—" "Awful to lose your dog when you're out walking," says the old lady. "There's a lot of bush out here for a dog to get lost in." She and the girl are walking away now, towards the crooked bend, and once they get round it, he'll be here with no way of knowing how to get out. He sees himself scrambling after them, making up some bullshit about using her phone, maybe, to call a mate. She turns while he's still floundering, trying to think. "Take care," she calls. She raises her hand, and he can't move. Some pulsing energy is pouring down him into his legs, lashing him to the ground like roots, like he's made of stone. "Wait," he says, I was just joking. I don't really have a dog." She just looks at him with something like indulgence. "But that's nonsense," she says, smiling. "Listen, can't you hear it?" There is a dense pocket of silence and emptiness inside him. Her raised hand hovers. "There," she says softly. And even across this distance, somehow he can still hear her voice, cold now, making no mistake. "Don't you hear that?" He must be losing it. Must be, because he doesn't even need to strain his ears. He can hear the howl, distant and chilling. a baying, a throat opened, circling, somewhere, getting closer. His eyes jerk open and the old woman and the girl are gone. The girl inhales the scent of her grandmother as they walk. It's a clothes in off the line smell, a bathroom cupboard smell, a linen press smell, an iron pressed over cotton and sweat and salt, tea leaves. Her grandmother's gnarled hand is around her shoulder. "You came," said the girl. "You called me," says the old woman. It's almost dark now, and they're nearly at the house behind the hill with the throw rugs over the chairs and the photo of the grandfather on the mantelpiece and cheese on toast and books and no television, with the bunches of herbs hung in the kitchen window and the big, mysterious stone with the smooth hole carved in its centre for grinding seeds, her grandmother told her once, mystifyingly stroking it with her hand next to the front porch door. "Come on," says her grandmother. "Come and put the chooks away and then ring your mum and tell her you're staying for tea." The girl breathes out and breathes in. Eucalyptus and earth. The first bats swooping in luminous light. Wood smoke. A cradle trum of stones up the path to the light inside. "I made cake," says grandmother.
The live readings for Story Saloon at the Vanguard were recorded by Martin Gallagher. Your host has been Jane Messer. A big thanks to the whole Story Saloon team.